And maximize your success. The temperature by any bet is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the police say 3 of St. Catherine's most dangerous men have been cut down in confrontations in a 20-minute span.
JUTC urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses.
And Minister Darrell Vaz calls for the depoliticization of the country's transport sector in light of the recent stonings.
We'll have to make some other arrangements in terms of security for these buses, especially during the silly season.
The opposition PNP is also condemning the stonings.
Indicom records a 1.5% reduction in complaints last year.
In news from the rest of the world, 156 new HIV cases reported in the Bahamas in 2024.
United Kingdom plans to lower the voting age to 16 in landmark electoral reform.
In headline sports, Akeem Blake is out of the Jamaica men's sprint relay team for this weekend's London Diamond League.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, there are alarming trends of children being raped across several parishes. In the latest incident, a father has been sentenced to more than 3 decades in prison for raping and pimping out his own daughter. The country's prosecutors are sounding an alarm about the prevalence of this kind of crime in the society. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, will share her concerns.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask your reaction to the stoning of the JUTC buses. Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, JUTC buses stoned again. Why are Jamaicans damaging the state-owned fleet? The bus company's head of security, Radcliffe Lewis, will join us with the details.
At 7, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, has a new president. Its first ever woman president. She's Catherine Silvera. She'll join us.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, July 17, 2025.
This hour is brought to you by KFC, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The police say 3 of St. Catherine's most dangerous men were shot and killed in separate but coordinated confrontations in the parish. All 3 incidents occurred on Wednesday in the span of 20 minutes. Shalois Michael reports.
The first incident involved a man who police described as one of the most ruthless extortionists in St. Catherine. He's a Craig Ledford, otherwise called Chuck Up. Ledford was shot and killed at about 5:43 a.m. The police say 1 firearm was seized following the confrontation. It's understood Chuck Up was a person of interest in the 2024 Cherry Tree Lane massacre in Clarendon. The police allege Ledford was also a top-tier member of the Klansman gang. The second confrontation occurred moments later at about 5:50. That man, Jason O'Shane Bryan, otherwise called Nose, was shot dead in Fisheries District in the parish. A firearm was also seized. The police say Bryan was a person of interest in several shooting incidents. He was also wanted in connection with the seizure of an illegal firearm. According to the police, this isn't the first time they've gone after Bryan, but he's managed to elude the authorities on several operations. Bryan was reportedly the family member of a criminal known as Bubba, who is currently incarcerated overseas. The police say Bryan carries out the commands of Bubba in Jamaica. The third operation occurred at about 6:02 a.m. in the Damhead district in the parish. That culprit, Joseph Dixon, otherwise called Boise, was cut down and a firearm seized. The three now adds to the 173 Jamaicans killed in alleged confrontations since the start of the year. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
The Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited JUTC is urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses. The appeal follows an incident on Wednesday night during which one of the company's new buses was stoned. The vandalized bus was one of 93 added to the JUTC's fleet at the Portmore Bus Depot in St. Catherine on Wednesday. It's reported that at 7:45 p.m. a JUTC bus was operating on the Washington Boulevard route in St. Andrew and was attacked in the vicinity of Drewsland. Stones were thrown at the unit, resulting in significant damage to the front windscreen. None of the passengers in the bus were injured. The JUTC says investigations are underway. Speaking on Cliff Views Online on Thursday, JUTC's head of security, Radcliffe Lewis, says the police have increased their patrol of hotspot areas.
We have engaged police officers to patrol with us in the night. But as I mentioned to you, the areas that you have in the problem. So you are patrolling the Harbour View area, and you might patrol in the Central Village area, and I'm going to put a third patrol. You're patrolling the Greater Portmore area. The stone throwing incident is along the boulevard.
Yes.
So we don't have enough police officers. We don't have enough personnel.
CCTV cameras can help you?
Well, those areas don't have CCTV cameras.
Radcliffe Lewis, head of the security at JUTC. According to the bus company, recent stonings of its buses have been reported in several areas across the corporate area and Harbourview. They include 3 miles Seaview Gardens, 6 miles Washington Boulevard, Hagley Park Road, Christian Gardens, and Cumberland. They also include Greater Portmore, Passage Fort, Caymanas, and Sir Florizel Glaspole Boulevard.
The Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is calling for the depoliticization of the country's transport sector in light of recent stonings of JUTC buses. He says the posture taken by the opposition PNP on the buses is wrong.
Whereas I can't prove at this precise time that it's politically motivated, the fact that the PNP has so politicized the issue of the rural school bus and the buses in general, including a statement today by the shadow spokesperson in relation to the newly announced express routes. So, as I said before, it's not surprising. I hope that the police will break through on it very quickly and make an arrest, and we'll have to make some other arrangements in terms of security for these buses, especially during the silly season.
Darrell Vaz, the Transport Minister.
And opposition spokesman on transport Michael Phillips has rejected claims of politics being involved in the recent stoning of JUTC buses. He's calling for the full force of the law to be brought against those damaging the buses.
Any Jamaican that damages public property, in this case the JUTC buses, we hope that the full length of the law will take its course. We do not condone it. It is something that we should all as Jamaicans not support. There are some who are employed to the JUTC who are trying to bring the politics in it to say that it happens in areas that are strongly supported by the People's National Party. Refrain from that. That should never come into the conversation. Buses are for everyone, and we, the People's National Party, condemns any Jamaican who damages public property.
Michael Phillips, opposition spokesman on transport. He was speaking with Nationwide News on Thursday.
The acting chief executive officer of the National Irrigation Commission, the NIC, Rowan Stewart, says his organization is moving to support farmers amid an ongoing drought.
For the farmers that we have infrastructure, areas that we have infrastructure, those we have a system to deal with those. So we can extend the hours of our pumping and delivery system so we can provide water for a longer period for those farmers. For those areas where it is not possible to extend the system because we might not have enough capacity, we have a scheduling system where we will schedule farmers to get water on whether daily or hourly basis. The other system that we have for those persons who are on the fringes of our current system, we have water filling stations. There are actually have 9 of them now, and persons can purchase water, collect the water in trucks and take it to their establishment. We also operate 5 water trucks, particularly in St. Elizabeth, 4 in St. Elizabeth and 1 in Trelawney, where we provide that water service or deliver water service to the customers.
Stewart says the NIC is working closely with the Agriculture Ministry to provide irrigation kits to farmers. On Wednesday, the Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, confirmed that the island would be experiencing drought conditions for the foreseeable future. He says normal rainfall patterns should return by October.
Water Minister Matthew Samuda says there was no competitive process for contracts for the Western Water Resilience Project due to its urgency. He was questioned about the contract for the project at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister.
There was not a competitive process. We used the firm that had worked on the varying nodes of the project for over 20 years to do the engineering and consequently to take on phase 1, which sees 68 kilometers, I believe, of ductile iron pipeline to be laid. Now, what that will do is significantly reduce non-revenue water, which will by itself increase by several million gallons supply into Montego Bay, into Trelawney, and into Hanover, into Negril. The project is an emergency implementation, and I think every single citizen of Negril, of Lucy, of Green Island, of Montego Bay that was out of water for some 7 days last week will agree that the project is an emergency.
The government is to spend $28 billion on the first phase of project, which will see the installation and replacement of 2 transmission mains. One will stretch from the Martha Brae water treatment plant in Trelawney to the terminal reservoir in St. James. The second main goes from the Great River water treatment plant in St. James to Negril in Westmoreland. Minister Samuda says the project is an emergency that will ease water woes in sections of western Jamaica. He defended the contract's award to Vinci Construction Grand Projects.
The Western Resilience Water Project is a project that was contemplated, and designs for elements of it and varying components of it contemplated from 2002 by the former PJ Patterson administration. It was around that time they built the Logwood treatment facility in Hanover, which serviced quite a bit of Hanover and indeed Negril. You'll note that the same contractor would have built and designed that system, and that was their entry into the national water sector.
Matthew Samuda, Water Minister.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, recorded a 1.5% reduction in complaints last year. The figures were outlined in the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the PIOJ's Economic and Social Survey of Jamaica for 2024. It says total complaints fell to 1,071 when compared to the 1,087 reported in 2023. Assault complaints were the most prevalent, with 566 being reported. Discharge of firearms was second, coming in at 216. Only 162 complaints of fatal shootings were reported last year. The 3 amounted to 65% of the matters investigated by the law enforcement watchdog. The PIOJ's survey says the majority of the complaints were concentrated in Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. 87% of the complaints were made against members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Department of Correctional Services accounted for 8%, while the Jamaica Defence Force amounted to 2%. Another 3% involved both the JCF and the JDF. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
Now, PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
Do your thing with your queen or your king.
Alright, get a little frisky, that make you flex risky.
Prep, I extra bucketed.
Too happy, say HIV negative.
Prep makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV. Prep tablets available at your clinic from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Continuing the news, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is rejecting claims from the PNP that the government has failed to deliver prosperity for Jamaicans. PNP President Mark Golding made the claim at a party meeting in St. Catherine on Tuesday. But speaking at Wednesday's groundbreaking of the Wakefield Mews Palms housing development in the same parish, Dr. Holness argued that many confuse prosperity with instant pleasure.
There are some people who confuse prosperity with pleasure, with short-term happiness. Prosperity is not a moment. Prosperity is a journey. It is the constant progress of impactful and positive transformation of the lives of the people. There are moments on the journey where you will gain some pleasure, but you will also encounter some distress, some hurt, some unhappiness. But it is in the conquest of these things that you develop the mindset of being successful and prosperous.
Golding took the Holness-led government to task for what he says is its failure to stabilize or improve the economy. This, he says, despite inheriting a sound economic framework from the previous PNP administration. Golding further questioned why so many Jamaicans are still not feeling the effects of the booming economy. In defending his stewardship, the JLP leader pointed to the reduction in crime, poverty, and record low unemployment as proof of prosperity.
When last you are hearing, a political debate about poverty, absolute poverty in Jamaica has been cut in half. You have a 97% probability of being employed in Jamaica. Over 1,000 persons have already benefited from this social housing program. For the people whose lives have been saved, they are infinitely better off. And so we have to confront these things and change our mindset, because for so long we have been involved in this very long struggle in Jamaica that our default position is that not Nagwan, whereas things are changing before your very eyes.
Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and JLP leader.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KSAMC, has published the findings of a report into the approval of development projects. The report, which was done by an independent review panel, was presented at Wednesday's meeting of the Building and Town Planning Committee. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The independent three-member review panel was commissioned earlier this year to examine the KSAMC's development approval and planning framework. The panel was established following concerns raised about inefficiencies in the corporation's development approval processes and the enforcement of planning and building guidelines. In a statement on Wednesday, Mayor of Kingston Andrew Swaby says the submission of this report represents an important step towards a more efficient, responsive and accountable municipal planning system. The final report includes a comprehensive assessment of the development approval framework, along with detailed policy and procedural reform proposals. Additionally, it offers recommendations to strengthen regulatory enforcement. The panel provided a 3-year implementation plan for the period 2025 to 2028. This was alongside a monitoring and evaluation plan to ensure that the agreed objectives are achieved. Associate Professor of Urban and Regional Planning at the University of Technology, Dr. Copeland Stupart, Urban and Regional Planning Consultant Lorna Perkins, and Real Estate Urban Planning and Sustainable Development Consultant Kevin Guscott were a part of the 3-member review panel. They were tasked with doing a full review of the laws, procedures, and institutional practices guiding planning and development within the KSAMC. The report will be reviewed in detail by both the Building and Town Planning Committee and the KSAMC Advisory Committee. Thereafter, they will disclose the future policy decisions and operational reforms within the corporation. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
There were 156 newly reported cases of HIV infections in the Bahamas in 2024. According to the country's health minister, close to 4,000 people were living with HIV in the island. The minister noted that the figure represents 1% of the population. It was also disclosed that residents in New Providence made up 82% of the new infections. Grand Bahama residents accounted for 10% of the new cases. According to the health ministry, males represented 63% of the HIV cases. 17% of the new cases were people ages 50 and over, and 14% were between 15 and 24 years.
The British government says it plans to give 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote in all UK elections in a major overhaul of the country's democratic system. The government said the proposed changes would align voting rights across the UK with Scotland and Wales. According to the House of Commons, research from countries that have lowered the voting age to 16 shows it has had no impact on election outcomes. It says 16-year-olds were more likely to vote than those first eligible at 18. The Labour Party, whose popularity has fallen sharply, said it would lower the voting age if elected. Lowering the voting age to 16 across the UK would be the biggest change to the electorate since it was last reduced in 1969. The reforms would also expand acceptable voter ID to include UK-issued bank cards and digital forms of existing IDs.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the police say 3 of St. Catherine's most dangerous men were cut down in confrontations in a 20-minute span.
JUTC urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses.
The Transport Minister Daryl Vaz has called for the depoliticization of the country's transport sector in light of the recent stonings.
The opposition PNP is also condemning the stonings.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today!
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica will go into Saturday's crucial men's 4x100 meters at the London Diamond League at the Olympic Stadium in the British capital without one of their biggest sprinters. Akeem Blake, who finished third at the national championship, is out after feeling some discomfort. This opens the way for Kadrian Golson to take his spot on the team. Golson, who was in Italy for relay practice with the rest of the team, has already arrived in England along with Oblique Seville. Rowan Watson and Kishane Thompson, the other members of the team, are also due in England from their base in Italy. Blake was also scheduled to run in the men's 100 meters. Jamaica is chasing the qualifying standards for the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan this September. Jamaica is currently the number 18th ranked team in the world by time, and they must run faster than the 37.87 seconds of the Netherlands, who are in 15th, or the 38.20 seconds by the 16th place Nigeria. 2 Saturdays ago, a team of Adrian Carr, Golson, Buwaji and Cromie and O'Dane McPherson failed to achieve the time after winning the event at the Barbados Grand Prix in 38.46. Should the team fail to get the time, they'll have another shot at it at the NACAC Senior Championships in the Bahamas, August 15 to 17. They must get that time before the cutoff date of August 24. Ruth Cheptegei, the women's marathon world record holder, has been provisionally suspended by Athletics Integrity Unit, the AIU, for a banned substance. The diuretic hydrochlorothiazide was detected in a sample collected from the Kenyan on March 14. The AIU said in a statement today, Cheptegei broke the world record to win the Chicago Marathon in October of 2024, clocking a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 56 seconds. Hydrochlorothiazide is usually clinical to treat fluid retention and hypertension and is prohibited at all times under the World Anti-Doping Agency Code. The time in Chicago surpassed Ethiopia's Tigist Asifa's previous record set at the 2023 Berlin Marathon by nearly 2 minutes. Used commonly as a masking agent, HCTZ has a minimum reporting level of 20 nanograms per milliliter. Cheptegei's sample showed 3,800. She was not provisionally suspended by the AIU at the time of the notification on April 16. However, on April 19, she opted for a voluntary provisional suspension while the AIU's investigation was ongoing. The Windward Islands beat Jamaica by 4 wickets in the West Indies Rising Stars Women Under-19 Championships at the Diego Martin Sports Complex in Trinidad and Tobago today. Batting first, Jamaica were bundled out for a miserable 51. Monica Reid was the only player into double figures. She made 10 as Selena Ross bagged 6 for 4. Chasing 52 to win, the Windwards reached the target inside 22 overs, thanks in the main to Kayla George and Natalia Phillip, who both made 14 runs. Brianna Plummer bagged 5 for 12. Over at the Sir Frank Worrell Ground, Barbados 68 for 3 beat the Leeward Islands 67 by 7 wickets. Trinidad and Tobago, they defeated the Guyana team by 2 wickets at the National Cricket Centre in Couva. Guyana were bundled out for 70. Brianna Haricharan bagged 5 wickets. Amrita Ramtahal 3 and Kenika Kassar 2. In response, Trinidad and Tobago made 71 for 8. Jamaican international Trevante Stewart is on the move again. The former Mount Pleasant Academy Premier League winner has left the Serbian Division 1 club Radniki for top Israeli Premier League club Maccabi Haifa for a fee of 1.5 million euros. Stewart scored 16 goals from 38 appearances in all competitions for Radniki after arriving from the Italian side Salernitana for 80,000 euros last summer. The 1.5 million euros, which is a record transfer for the club, will be paid in 2 installments. The 25-year-old Stewart is to undergo a medical and agree personal terms. Former Portmore United star Javan East is also playing his club football in Israel, and he's now with Hapoel Haifa in that top flight in Israel. And former national youth coach Donovan Ducky has joined the coaching staff at the Phoenix Academy. Ducky will work with all the squads affiliated with the Phoenix brand, from youth development to the Premier League squads. He's to work alongside Craig Butler, the founder of the academy, as well as Dane Peralto, Ricardo Martin, Eddie Layton, and Andre Davis. Butler told the Nationwide Sports that Ducky is a good fit for Phoenix.
I'm very happy. Ducky has a similar mentality in terms of coaching and development. We're both very tactical coaches. We're very concerned with the development of football, so I'm very happy to have him.
Duque brings tremendous wealth of experience, having coached at the Premier League level with Humberline, Waterhouse, Mount Pleasant, and Montego Bay United. Butler says the pair has already started working on preparation for the upcoming schoolboy football season.
It's going very well. We played our first friendly game against Manchester High School and won convincingly, so we're doing very well. And a very solid team in terms of personnel going forward, and we're looking forward to a really strong year.
That's Craig Butler. And finally in sports at this time, Tatiana Black scored a double in Arnott Gardens' 6-0 win over Federal United in the Jamaica Women's Premier League at the Charlie Smith High School. Shakira Douglas, Shadi Berry, Shanika Young, and Tassani Hamilton were the other goal scorers. With one preliminary round to go before the semis, Arnott remained third on the standings. They've got 45 points, and they're assured of a place in the playoff already. And just to look at the other games, Mile Gully, they're eager to end the 25s on a high, and they beat Real Mobay 5-0 in their penultimate game at Mile Gully Community Centre. Laura Hansen and Samara Finley each scored a brace, while Janelle Williams netted the fifth. Play will continue on Saturday. 5 games are on the bill. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back, though, with more at 6:05 in our main sportscast.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:30.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocho Rios to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
32 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Guilty. Outperform, outlast. Guilty. With top performance. Guilty. Chakama. Reliable. Full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton. Available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Northeastern St. Anne, come out in your numbers for the Jamaica Labour Party Ocho Rios and Exchange Joint Divisional Conference this Sunday, July 20. Exchange primary 5 p.m. hosted by your MP, the water boss Matthew Samuda. Here MPs Olivia Babsy-Grange, Ed Bartlett, Darrell Vaz, Pernell Charles Jr. and Councillors Michael Belnavis, Ian Isaacs, Geneva Gordon-Bailey, Dallas Dickinson and others will bring active and strong messages of hope and prosperity. Yo, Naughty St. Anne, you look good. You look ready. You sound ready. Hey. And even though a PMP is still a bad mind, the children them boss. The Jamaica Labour Party continues to choose policies and plans which are in the best interests of Jamaica. The Ocho Rios and Exchange Joint Divisional Conference this Sunday. Exchange primary 5 p.m. See you there.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC. It's finger-licking good.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when me use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 this Thursday afternoon. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
How are you, my friend?
Doing quite well.
Good. Listeners, we hope we find you well. And let's start with a trigger warning. We are going to be discussing matters of sexual assault and rape. Yeah, so just want you to be aware of that. A new low. That's how the director of Hear the Children's Cry, Nigel Cooper, has described the court case involving a father who pleaded guilty to raping and trafficking his underage daughter and stepdaughter over several years. The man, who is a taxi driver, was sentenced to more than 3 decades in prison when he appeared in the Home Circuit Court on Tuesday.
He was also convicted of raping another child, his neighbor, around the same time. He pleaded guilty on February 14 this year. The combined sentences for the crimes against all 3 girls total just over 100 years, but the sentences will run concurrently.
This means the taxi driver will serve only the longest single sentence, that's 33 years and 8 months, before becoming eligible for parole. Now, this story has enraged many Jamaicans and triggered calls for harsher penalties for these crimes. But what are law enforcement and our prosecutors facing in bringing these perpetrators to justice? Well, to help us tell us more about that, we have the country's Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, Paula Llewellyn. Good afternoon, Ms. Llewellyn.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, one of the things we've been seeing in the reactions is that people are saying, surely this crime counts as one of the worst instances of sexual assault, rape that's come to the public attention. Is this the worst you've ever seen?
Well, it's one of the worst, but I've seen, still worse. But it's one of the worst.
And is this some kind of anomaly? Is it an outlier?
Well, one would like to think so, but from time to time in chambers, as we compare notes, concurrences coming in from different circuits, for some time over the last few years, we have noticed that the sexual offense cases in the sort of depravity that you're seeing, that it has really been on the uptick. I think you definitely had an uptick after COVID, but even before that, and I think part of it, I know a lot of people will be shocked, but I think we have to have a man in the mirror moment, because a lot of people do not regard sexual offenses with the same alarm that they view murder. And just yesterday, several of us were talking in the chambers and remarking that though we are very happy to see that the murder cases, the murder figures are going down, but we're not seeing the same emphasis by the authorities in looking at the murder cases. So, not the murder, the sexual offenses. So what I did to prepare for this, I didn't have much time, but I just spoke to about 2 or 3 prosecutors who one just came back from the St. Catherine Circuit, and she was remarking that even the judge was alarmed by the type of sexual offense cases that were on the list. And in St. Catherine, for the Easter term here, that is just being completed, you will find that, she said, for every 1 murder case on the list, there are 2 sexual offense cases, and 40 to 50% of the accused in the rape cases, most of the cases are rape, the accused are taximen, and the age of the victims in respect of these cases with allegation is that it has been done by taximen is 12 to 16 years. And usually the fact pattern, when we read the files, The victims were usually children taking the taxis, and invariably it's either they are the first in the taxi, supposedly going to school, and the taximan will divert, do what he does in terms of the sexual assault, and then I guess go back to his regular work. Or the child might be the last person in the taxi, so everybody else comes out, and then the taximan takes her away. And in fact, most of the rape cases involving taximen as the accused, we also had a charge for forcible abduction. So I myself was quite taken aback. Well, I must confess as a prosecutor that St. Catherine has always been the parish where you tended to find allegations involving taxis, I would say the most compared to the other parishes. That has always been so. But I think in recent times, there seems to be an uptick in it. In St. Thomas, I was speaking to the senior deputy director who had been there. And in St. Thomas, you had, for this term, because all the circuits now, you have over 100, 150 cases, sometimes 200. So we're trying to spread them throughout the whole year.
And those cases are
so voluminous.
Those cases are sexual assault rape cases?
What I just spoke about?
Yes, the 100 plus.
Well, I am not sure if it's a 100 plus, but she said for every one murder case in the St. Catherine circuit, two are sexual assaults.
No, man, I meant the ones that you say you're trying to spread out over the year.
Well, no. I mean, murder and all other offenses.
Okay.
Intent, possession of identity
information,
and the sexual offense cases. Because what has happened in the circuit courts, and I think the Chief Justice has commented on it, the old days when you had these gazetted 3-week or 4-week sittings per term for all the circuits, because the volume of cases have tripled and quadrupled since independence, 1962, when we first had the assize sitting, as it was called in the old days. You know, what you really need now are continuous circuits going right through the year, which is one of the reasons why I've tried to make sure that I increase the volume, the amount of lawyers at my office from 20-odd when I took over as DPP, and when I leave in September, I will have gotten approval now to go up to 70. I'm at 58, but to go up to 70. Because we're going to have continuous service.
But, Madam DPP...
I know two ways about it.
Madam DPP, you've outlined the concern and that the problem is quite as significant as you say. So is it a matter that we are almost afraid to shine a light on it because of fear of what we'll find if we do put that spotlight on it, the issue?
Well, let me tell you something, and I'm going to be very... I'm not going to spare all of us. We're afraid to shine the light or to talk about it because a lot of it is cultural. There is a sort of subtext within the culture that says, after that I know nothing. It's just a little sex. And that is a cultural thing all over the country. Right now, if you talk to the average prosecutor at my office, it's something that has been very concerning in St. Thomas. So you have 25 murder cases, and you had 54 sexual offense cases just for this term that were handled. For the sexual offense cases, you had 27 rape cases, 27, 1 burglary, 7 incest. Incest is another thing, another offense that we have seen rising as well. Crown Council in several parishes have told me that we were sexual assault and sex with a person under 16. So altogether you have 54 cases that were dealt with on the list for this term. But you only had 25 murder cases. Of course, we have other cases spread to the other circuits for St. Thomas. But if you look at most of the circuits, in Trelawney, it is well known there. The police will tell you. In Top Trelawney, which I think may be the border between Chinnon and Manchester, you know, the sexual offense cases that come there would seem to suggest that it's a rite of passage that is just known. It just happens, and everybody looks the other way. And usually, it's neighbors, it's relatives, it's people right in the same yard. But in St. Catherine, I think they stand out in terms of the statistics when it comes to the allegations involving taximen. And in fact, what my prosecutor was saying is that 90% of the times it's a hold down, take away sort of thing.
Hold it there for us, DPP. We're up on the break. Talking to the Director of Public Prosecutions about what her prosecutors are facing across the country in terms of instances of rape and sexual assault of our children.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 7:46.
Burn Shock fried chicken always ready. Burn Shock, original crispy. Burn Shock, Cajun spicy. Burn Shock, a barbecue. Burn Shock, we are going Burn Shock.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's also 30 out west in Montego Bay.
We have, as a people, been fed a steady diet of information, oftentimes untrue, that nothing na go on. This is probably the first government that almost every single day of the week could have a groundbreaking, a handing over, a contract signing, a commissioning, because enough things are going on in Jamaica under the Andrew Holness-led government. Enough things. So when they come to you with the negativity about nothing na go on, you may not see what is happening. So when you see groundbreaking, we have been working 2 years, 3 years before bringing it through a process, and we have all kinds of projects, not in a pipeline. Our projects are on a track, so we have a train line of projects to come.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
5:48, you're tuned in to Nationwide at 5, the cover story. Again, a trigger warning for you. We have with us the country's Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, discussing the matter of sexual assault and rape across the country. DPP, before the break, you made the point that in a lot of these cases, you're finding that the perpetrators or the alleged perpetrators are close to the children.
Yeah, they're known within the community. So, I mean, it's all well and good for people to be alarmed and shocked when they see that story. I myself was alarmed when I saw it, when my deputy director came and told me about having dealt with it earlier that day. Mm-hmm. But, you know, people will be alarmed and shocked. But when you look within their communities, within the particular arena that they operate, a lot of this is hidden or half hidden, or it is there in plain sight. But yet they look the other way because it's a part of the culture. It's just a little sex. And not recognizing that with a lot of these youngsters, first of all, another thing that we have found is that all over, our young people, when you speak to them in the courts, they are very highly sexualized. Very highly sexualized. So in other words, they are exposed from very early to the whole concept of sex, and not within the context of, you know, a union in terms of love then between man and woman or otherwise. But I believe, and we were having a big discussion, and it seems that it may at heart be the base of why it is that you see this rise in transactional relationships. A lot of, you know, some of the youngsters, they're not interested in schoolwork because early sexual activity, some of them are sexually groomed. When you look at the statements and you see the sort of relationship that they had with the perpetrator, especially if it is somebody within the family or a neighbor. Something as simple as the child from age 6 would go to the accused man's house next door because he promised her mangoes or he promised her. You know, it's not like the old days. And when you look at it, the child was being sexually groomed until at age 9, 10, he had sex with her. You know, so we are seeing quite a bit of this, and I have always called for the tripling of social workers because I think that a lot of households need the support. You have a lot of delinquent parents. You have instances where mothers are pimping out their girls in order to get money.
And how does that complicate the efforts to prosecute these crimes? Because if the community and those who know are looking the other way, how do you get people to testify, to say what they know in court?
Well, you have to use moral suasion. Sometimes some of the kids, you know, you are able to appeal to their guardian to say they need the closure. But sometimes if there's a transactional relationship, okay, you have the accused is the stepfather of the complainant. The mother doesn't work and she has a child for the accused. She doesn't work. So if the accused man goes to prison, as far as she's concerned, she can't survive. So you may see the child come to court once or twice, and then the next thing is police tell you that they cannot find the child. They've gone to the school. They no longer live where they, used to live. And you see the accused in court looking quite relaxed. You just know what has gone down, you know. So, you know, unless you get a commitment from the caregivers to stay the course, and usually what we try to do is refer the children, if it's a young person, or whether it's a young person, an older person, try to get them involved in the victim support unit at the Ministry of Justice. Sissoko does quite a bit. In fact, if you all really do investigative journalism and you want statistics island-wide, Sissoko, they have branches all over. All the sexual offense cases in St. Catherine, for example, are investigated by either Portmore Sissoko branch or the Spanish Town Sissoko branch. So if you really want the statistics and to know the profile of the alleged perpetrators and the complainants, you just need to ask them for the stats. But I think there needs to be that sort of, emphasis in the same way that we're all pleased at the murder figures going down. I think we need to have a man in the mirror moment, and all the agencies, we need to have a joined-up approach and really through public education and otherwise. And if we see that we can do other things as a society to lessen that proximity between the very vulnerable and some of these perpetrators, then by all means we should join hands and heart together and to do it. It's very, very sometimes demotivating to us. I sometimes am surprised when we don't get post-traumatic stress disorder or the police in terms of what we see.
And that's where I would like to take it, Madam DPP. How does your office cope with, I can imagine, such a high stress and highly depressing situation, having to deal with this
and disgusting situation, having to read these details?
Exactly, deal with such situations, because even in journalism we face some of these same difficulties, having to deal with sensitive material that you would otherwise not want to either view or engage with. So is there a system in place that assists prosecutors and the police to de-stress or to work through very difficult situations such as this?
Well, what we have tried to make sure at the chambers, we are over 50 lawyers and we have support staff as well, is that we encourage, first of all, I have an open door policy. I encourage all my staff, senior staff, to have an open door policy. I have a sexual offense unit, and Crown Council know that we can always talk about it, right? But and also I encourage all Crown Council to take their leave, so that they have a space in time during the year that they can de-stress. And I think also having the Chief Justice has reinstituted the legal vacation during August. That is also important, where we can sort of take the pressure down. But when you're in the middle of it, I'll never forget whether you give a trigger warning. One, you asked me if I've seen worse than what was in yesterday. I remember a file came in and I was reading. It was a request for the matter to come up on Valville to the St. Elizabeth Circuit. And I saw the statement, a 6-year-old who complained that, her aunt was saying she kept wetting her bed, and her stepfather had already been taken into custody for molesting the 6-year-old. And she noticed the aunt, had custody of the child now. The mother was still living where she was living with the stepfather down the road, but he was now in custody. And she noticed that the child was still wetting her bed and having nightmares. And when she questioned her, because she would send the child to go and spend a little time with the mother and to come back. And when the child came back this last time, she was questioning her because she wasn't sleeping well. And the child said, but it was mommy who used to spread my legs and put her finger in my, they have a little unforensic name for vagina. And then to have the stepfather put his penis in her vagina. So when she saw the mother, it would trigger her. So immediately, we had the police arrest the mother, and in respect of the statement, brought it up on a vol bill, and the mother and the stepfather were prosecuted by one of my deputies. And the both of them were convicted. The little girl gave very good evidence. And I'm telling you, when I read those statements, I remember as old as I am, I put the file down and I just got up and walked around in my office and just exhaled and exhaled, because every time, gentlemen, you think that you have seen a lot, there comes another situation. Just a month and a half ago, because in preparation for my exiting the stage as DPP, I've been going around to the different circuits. My staff would want me to cut myself into little pieces, but I'm trying my best. And I stopped in at St. Catherine for a day and got involved in opposing a bail application. There he was, looked like about 50. Taximan. Allegedly, he was a taximan. Complainant was 14. He was HIV positive and abducted the child on the pretext that although he was not running on her route, but he would still give her a ply and take her to where she wanted to go. And that child innocently saw everybody getting out of the taxi and didn't realize the danger she was in. And he took her away and sexually assaulted her. And I had to indicate to the court, he's a danger to himself, but a danger to the public, given his condition. Mercifully, the child was not infected. So when you see something like that, I mean, when I left court, I said if I was the type of person to drink, I'd have to have a stiff drink. Because there he sits in the dock, totally without regret or remorse. And these things are happening, but we are not having the, outpouring of persons in the society demanding that action be taken within their communities, but it's at their hands, because a lot of people know of other people, and they just look the other way when they know that they are doing what they are not supposed to be doing.
DPP, We're out of time. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
So let's hope we get some more social workers. All right?
Paula
Thank you.
Llewellyn is the country's Director of Public Prosecutions. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
That hour was brought to you by KFC, celebrating 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited, JUTC, is urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses. The appeal follows an incident on Wednesday night, during which one of the company's new buses was stoned. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Thursday, JUTC's head of security, Radcliffe Lewis, says the police have increased their patrol of hotspot areas.
We have engaged police officers to patrol with us in the night. But as I mentioned to you, the areas that you have in the problem. So you are patrolling the Harbour View area, and you might patrol in the Central Village area, and I'm going to put a third patrol. You're patrolling the Greater Portmore area. The stone throwing incident is along the boulevard.
Yes.
So we don't have enough police officers. We don't have enough personnel.
CCTV cameras can help you?
Well, those areas don't have CCTV cameras.
Radcliffe Lewis, head of security at the JUTC. According to the bus company, recent stonings have been reported in several areas across the corporate area and Harbour View. Meanwhile, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is calling for the depoliticization of the country's transport sector in light of recent stonings of JUTC buses. He says the posture taken by the opposition PNP on the buses is wrong.
Whereas I can't prove at this precise time that it's politically motivated. The fact is the PNP has so politicized the issue of the rural school bus and the buses in general, including a statement today by the shadow spokesperson in relation to the newly announced express routes. So, as I said before, it's not surprising. I hope that the police will break through on it very quickly and make an arrest, and we'll have to make some other arrangements in terms of security for these buses, especially during the silly season.
Darrell Vaz, the Transport Minister, but opposition spokesman on transport, Michael Phillips, has rejected claims of politics being involved in the recent stoning of JUTC buses. He's calling for the full force of the law to be brought against those damaging the buses.
Any Jamaican that damages public property, in this case the JUTC buses, I hope that the full length of the law will take its course. We do not condone it. It is something that we should all as Jamaicans not support. There are some who are employed to the JUTC who are trying to bring the politics in it to say that it happens in areas that are strongly supported by the People's National Party. Refrain from that. That should never come into the conversation. Buses are for everyone, and we, the People's National Party, condemns any Jamaican who damages public property.
Michael Phillips, opposition spokesman on transport. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the National Irrigation Commission, NIC, Rowan Stewart, says his organization is moving to support farmers amid an ongoing drought.
For the farmers that we have infrastructure, areas that we have infrastructure, those we have a system to deal with those. So we can extend the hours of our pumping and delivery system so we can provide water for a longer period for those farmers. For those areas where it is not possible to extend the system because we might not have enough capacity, we have a scheduling system where we will schedule farmers to get water on whether daily or hourly basis. The other system that we have for those persons who are on the fringes of our current system, we have water filling stations. We actually have 9 of them now And persons can purchase water, collect the water in trucks and take it to their establishment. We also operate 5 water trucks, so particularly in St. Elizabeth, 4 in St. Elizabeth and 1 in Trelawney, where we provide that water service or deliver water service to the customers.
Rowan Stewart, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the NIC. On Wednesday, Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, confirmed that the island would be experiencing drought conditions for the foreseeable future. He says normal rainfall patterns should return by October. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is rejecting claims from the PNP that the government has failed to deliver prosperity for Jamaicans. PNP President Mark Golding made the claim at a party meeting in St. Catherine on Tuesday. But Dr. Holness argues that many confuse prosperity with instant pleasure.
There are some people who confuse prosperity with pleasure, with short-term happiness. Prosperity is not a moment. Prosperity is a journey. It is the constant progress of impactful and positive transformation of the lives of the people. There are moments on the journey where you will gain some pleasure, but you will also encounter some distress, some hurt, some unhappiness. But it is in the conquest of these things that you develop the mindset of being successful and prosperous.
Golding took the Holness-led government to task for what he says is its failure to stabilize or improve the economy. He further questioned why so many Jamaicans are still not feeling the effects of the booming economy. In defending his stewardship, the JLP leader pointed to the reduction in crime, poverty, and record low unemployment as proof of prosperity.
When last you are hearing, a political debate about poverty, absolute poverty in Jamaica has been cut in half. You have a 97% probability of being employed in Jamaica. Over 1,000 persons have already benefited from this social housing program. For the people whose lives have been saved, they are infinitely better off. And so we have to confront these things and change our mindset, because for so long we have been involved in this very long struggle in Jamaica that our default position is that not Nagwan. Whereas things are changing before your very eyes.
Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and the JLP leader. He was speaking at a groundbreaking for the Wakefield Mews Palms housing development in St. Catherine on Wednesday. Water Minister Matthew Samuda says there was no competitive process for contracts for the Western Water Resilience Project due to its urgency. He was questioned about the contract for the project at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing.
There was not a competitive process. We used the firm that had worked on the varying nodes of the project for over 20 years to do the engineering and consequently to take on phase 1, which sees 68 kilometers, I believe, of ductile iron pipeline to be laid. Now, what that will do is significantly reduce non-revenue water, which will by itself increase by several million gallons supply into Montego Bay, into Trelawney, and into Hanover, into Negril. The project is an emergency implementation, and I think every single citizen of Negril, of Lucy, of Green Island, of Montego Bay that was out of water for some 7 days last week will agree that the project is an emergency.
Matthew Samuda, Water Minister. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
I use the Radar app to help source my seeds and also my seedlings.
Me run my farm as a business, so I use the app for weather forecast and crop planning.
When we need the extension officer, we just book a visit on the app. Quick time she reach.
We check pest alert every morning. Me now make her mash up my grub.
Real farmers, real support, real easy. Crop Radar and Farm Smarter. Get the mobile app on Android and iOS.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Why rush around town for back-to-school shopping? Nationwide 90 FM is making it easy at our back-to-school fair. Come get your child measured for uniforms, check their shoe size, and purchase essentials right there on the spot. St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth. We've got everything in one place just for you. That's Saturday, August 9, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. The Nationwide 90 FM Back-to-School Fair.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica will go into Saturday's crucial men's 4x100 meters at the London Diamond League without one of their big three sprinters. Akeem Blake, who finished third at the National Championships, is out after feeling some discomfort. This opens the way for Kadrian Golson to take his spot on the team. Golson, who was in Italy for relay practice with the rest of the guys, has already flown to England along with Oblique Seville. Rohan Watson and Kishane Thompson, the other members of the team, are also due in England from their base in Italy. Blake was also scheduled to run in the men's 100 meters. Jamaica is chasing the qualifying standard for the World Championships and need to beat the times of 37.87 seconds or 38.20 seconds, and they must achieve that by the deadline August 24 to make it to the World Championship. Chairman of the Sports Committee at Jamaica College, Ian Forbes, and Principal of GC Foster, Maurice Wilson, say the refurbishing of the National Stadium will result in more organizations requesting the use of the facilities under their supervision. Work is set to start on the stadium next year and to last for 3 years, during which time the facility will remain partially open for special events to include boys and girls champs, but on a scaled-down basis. Forbes says the Ashenheim Stadium at Jamaica College is more than capable of hosting these additional events.
Ashenheim Stadium would stand ready to try to accommodate whatever overflow or surplus with respect to demand. See how best they could help to accommodate, because it's all in the interest of ensuring that the activities continue despite the refurbishment of the National Stadium facility. The basic infrastructure is there. It was just a matter of trying to make it as comfortable as possible for spectators. One example would be possibly covering the stands, ensuring that spectators are shielded from the elements, sun, wind, rain, as best as possible. The football field is there, as well as the track. Of course, there are other facilities inclusive of restrooms, etc. We just need to ensure that everything is in proper working order.
And that's Ian Forbes. Wilson says it shouldn't be a problem because GC Foster College is used to being in high demand.
We have, over time, have been improving our facility. We have covered the stands at the venue. We're in the process now of resurfacing our track or rehabilitating the track. And we are actually used to GC Foster College being one of the most used surfaces in Jamaica, if not the most used, because we do cover St. Catherine, Manchester, Trelawney, as far as St. Elizabeth. As a matter of fact, we go all the way to the west. As you know, Western Relays are held at the college, and I've been here for the last couple of years. So even though we have to manage and maintain the facility, we will have to make preparations for an influx at a particular time come next year.
And Wilson says he's got an experienced team on hand to make sure things run smoothly.
Mr. Paul Beckford, who is the acting principal, he was formerly a VP of administration and would be responsible for the track. And so he has vast experience in terms of how things are supposed to be done. Mr. Daniel Arthur, he's also the VP. He's a sports person. He has been around for a very long time. So I think the management of the institution will be in a good position to make sure we are able to assist in terms of the requests that will be made.
That's Maurice Wilson, principal of GC Foster College. The Windward Islands beat Jamaica by 4 wickets in the West Indies Rising Stars, the Women's Under-19 Cricket Championships at the Diego Martin Sports Complex in Trinidad today. Batting first, Jamaica were bowled out for a miserable 51. Monica Reid was the only player into double figures. She made 10 against Selena Ross, who picked up 6 for 4. Chasing 52 to win, the Windwards reached a target inside 22 overs, thanks to Kayla George and Natalia Phillip, who both made 14. Brianna Plummer bagged the 5 for 12. Over at the Sir Frank World Ground, Barbados 68 for 3 beat the Leeward Islands 67 by 7 wickets, and the Trinidad and Tobago, they defeated the Guyana by 2 wickets at the National Cricket Centre. Guyana were bundled out for 70. Trinidad and Tobago responded with 71 for 8. Former Jamaica first-class batsman and current president of Melbourne Cricket Club, Mark Nita, is suggesting that the upcoming T20 series between West Indies and Australia is the best chance for the Caribbean men to play competitive cricket. The first 2 games of the T20 series set for July 20, that is this coming Sunday, and 22, that's next week Tuesday, at Sabina Park. Ranked number 6, the West Indies last defeated the Aussies in a T20 series in 2021.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the T20 format is possibly the best format for West Indies cricket. Based on how the batsmen approach the game, their very attacking attitude, and sometimes the brilliance of the individuals. You know, we have a much better chance of winning a series against Australia, certainly, than we have playing a test series.
And Nita says he's hoping that the debacle that unfolded at Sabina Park on Monday doesn't spill over into the shorter version.
We just have to hope that this demolition of the test side doesn't affect the team adversely. Other players from the test side will be playing in that T20 side. So, yes, I hope that it's going to be a much better outcome for the West Indies. However, I suspect that given the strength of Australia, that we still will be second best.
And he's also waiting on the impending retirement of all-rounder Andre Russell from international cricket. Nita says that Russell's name is already etched on the list of best players to feature in the shorter format of the game.
He has served West Indies cricket very well, particularly in the shortened version. He's probably will go down as one of the best ever T20 players that the West Indies has ever produced. Certainly, comparing the likes of a Dwayne Bravo, Chris Gayle, a Puran. You know, he's just an outstanding player, an outstanding individual.
That's Mark Nita. Cricket West Indies is urging Jamaican cricket fans to be out in their numbers in full force to rally around the West Indies during the 2 T20 internationals to be played here in Jamaica. And they're set to ensure the stands are full of energy and packed with maroon pride. They're looking at calling it the Dre Day, a buy one, get one free offer, encouraging fans to come out in their numbers to support the West Indies team while also paying tribute to Andre Russell as he departs the international stage. The offer is available on general tickets if you're interested, and it's only general tickets, purchased by local CARICOM citizens. The deal does not apply to party stand or cricket cave. Hospitality tickets, as well as already discounted tickets for children and seniors, currently available for 50% off. Fans purchasing online can select the Dre Day special offer, while those purchasing at Sabina Park box office will have the deal automatically applied. These 2 matches promise fireworks on the field, an emotional moment in the stand, says Cricket West Indies, and it says it's a chance to support the team, salute a champion, and inspire the next generation of West Indies cricket players. Jamaican international Trevante Stewart is on the move again. The former Mount Pleasant Academy Premier League winner has left Serbian First Division club Radniki for top Israeli Premier League club Maccabi Haifa for a fee of €1.5 million. Stewart scored 16 goals from 38 games in all competitions for Radniki after arriving from the Italian side Salernitana for €80,000 last summer. The €1.5 million, which is a record transfer for the club, will be paid in 2 installments. The 25-year-old Stewart is to undergo a medical and to agree personal terms. Former Portmore United star Javanese is also playing his club football in the Israeli Premier League with Hapoel Haifa. And finally, in sports at this time, former national youth coach Donovan Duckey has joined the coaching staff at Phoenix Academy. Duckey will work with all the squads affiliated with the Phoenix brand, from youth development to the Premier League squads. He is to work alongside Craig Butler, founder of the academy, as well as Dane Peralto, Ricardo Martin, Eddie Layton, and Andre Davis. Butler told Nationwide Sports that Duckey is a good fit for Phoenix.
I'm very happy. Duckey has a similar mentality in terms of coaching and development. We're both very tactical coaches. We're very concerned with the development of football, so I'm very happy to have him.
Duckey brings tremendous wealth of experience, having coached at the Premier League level with the likes of Humble Lion, Waterhouse, Mount Pleasant Academy, and Portmore United. Butler says the pair has already started working on preparation for the upcoming schoolboy football season.
It's going very well. We played our first friendly game against Manchester High School and won convincingly, so we're doing very well. And a very solid team in terms of personnel going forward, and we're looking forward to a really strong year.
That's it for sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
This July, the world turns to Jamaica
for the Caribbean Investment Forum, the region's premier investment event.
From July 29 to 31, the Montego Bay Convention Center comes alive
with global thought leaders, exclusive investment opportunities, high-impact deal-making sessions.
Are you ready to invest in the Caribbean's future? Book now at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com.
Let's shape a smart, green, connected Caribbean. July 29 to 31, Montego Bay. Powered by Caribbean Export, Government of Jamaica, Jampro, EU, CARICOM, Republic Bank, and IDB.
Short-sightedness, the inability to see well in the distance, is on the rise and is affecting millions of children worldwide, increasing their risk of serious eye conditions later in life. At IQ Optical, we're proud to lead the fight against short-sightedness with revolutionary Maya Smart therapeutic lenses, specifically designed for young eyes. This month only, your child can receive a free second pair of our revolutionary lenses. Help protect your child's vision today. Visit IQ Optical, where clarity never looked sharper.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
The Jamaica Labour Party Area Council 1 presents Central Kingston Choose Jamaica public meeting this Sunday, July 25 p.m. at the intersection of Hitchin and Great George's Street in Allman Town. Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie and host Member of Parliament Donovan Williams will be on the road with champion MPs Darrell Vaz, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Delroy Chuck, Delroy Williams, Dwayne Smith, Senators Abka Fitz-Henley, Shireen Golding Campbell and others. Come hear messages of substance as the Jamaica Labour Party's mission to improve lives is active and strong. Choose Jamaica public meeting this Sunday, 5 p.m. in Allman Town, Central Kingston. No worry, Impact Boss Donovan Williams understands. Donovan cares. No sellout twinting. We choose Jamaica.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Please be advised that on Sunday, July 20, the Mayor's Parlour will air at 12 p.m. This will temporarily replace the usual broadcast of Amazing Word at that time. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams, a special one to our YouTubers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We ask you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. We turn our attention to something that happened last evening. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited, JUTC, is urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses. Yeah? The appeal follows an incident on Wednesday night during which one of the company's new buses was stoned. The vandalized bus was one of 93 added to the JUTC's fleet at the Portmore Bus Depot in St. Catherine on Wednesday. It's reported that the incident happened on Washington Boulevard, the route in St. Andrew, in the vicinity of Drewsland. Stones were thrown at the unit, resulting in significant damage to the front windscreen. Fortunately, none of the passengers in the bus were injured. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Thursday, JUTC's head of security, Radcliffe Lewis, says the police have increased their patrol of hotspot areas.
We have engaged police officers to patrol with us in the night. But as I mentioned to you, the areas that you have in the problem. So you are patrolling the Harbour View area, and you might patrol in the Central Village area, and I'm going to put a third patrol. You're patrolling the Greater Portmore area. The stone throwing incident is along the boulevard.
Yes.
So we don't have enough police officers. We don't have enough personnel.
CCTV cameras can help you?
Well, those areas don't have CCTV cameras.
Radcliffe Lewis, head of security at the JUTC. So in public opinion this evening, we're asking your reaction to the stoning of the new JUTC buses. Incidents of this nature, they're not new, but we're asking you the reaction towards this new fleet. Yeah? Adding to the fleet of the JUTC buses just a day after the handover. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in a few of the comments here on our Instagram platform. Cord Connect is saying, if you see something, say something. J3T's Queen, they should do hard work, prison sentence, and work to get a new one back, and their sentence is up. So if it takes up to 4 years to work a tambourine farm to buy it back, 40 years at hard labor prison for you. Philip King is saying it's looking... No, I don't know what that one is. Let me see if I can get in. Unorthodox is saying, I believe this backwardness will continue until there is a mind shift. The posture of the opposition and its confederates. I don't know if I want... All right. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments politically, speaking to politics, being involved in the comment section. Yeah, a lot of comments seemingly pointing to some aspects of being politics being involved. Smart is saying disgraceful and unbelievable. Sincerely hope the culprits are found and the justice system makes an example out of them. Weavon is saying that it is disgraceful. All right, the comments on our Facebook platform. Maxine Soleil is saying, obviously those responsible are persons whose cognitive impairment significantly impact their ability to make right decisions. Self-control was inculcated in me from childhood. Hence, I hereby place my fingers under house arrest, and I will not allow my emotions and the keyboard to influence me. Therefore, I rest. Maxine Soleil Riley rests. Let me see if I can get Jade Emerald says, make the charges stiffer. These people need to be told the time of day. Ralston is saying, I think these people are being influenced by someone in high position. Michael Johnston is saying, he's not surprised, and when the school bus roll out, look out for the same thing. Elarita Mitchell is saying, I don't know why some persons are surprised when others reacted in a negative way to the buses, because those who lead them by their speeches incited hatred, division, and disruption. O'Neill Dennis is saying, it's not surprising. Again, I'm seeing a lot of politics involved in all of the comments. Yeah. Melissa Rose is saying, I say anyone you catch, stoning them, give them hard time in prison. Yeah. Audley Nain says, that is so bad. It's the taxpayers that buy these buses. We, the taxpayers, are losing, not the government. Our taxes will be used to restore the damaged bus. Yeah. Wayne Gell is saying, it doesn't surprise me. Days ago, I predicted those detractors. Okay, a lot of allegations, a lot of things swirling around concerning politics. Yeah. I must say that the People's National Party opposition, the opposition on transport, Michael Phillips, did condemn the incident, and he also said that he's hoping for the investigations to bring to justice those who are involved in this matter. Philip Jackson is saying this is the art of evil and the acts of destruction, and this not looking good for those who are opposing the bus. We must find those hoodlums. Marlene Scott, these people are so stupid. It's very sad. I hope them know say what goes around will come around. If you spit in the sky, it will fall in your face. Yeah? They should be found and prosecuted, says Donna. Indeed, it's evil at the highest level, and the authorities should find those responsible and make an example of them. This one coming from Winston. George Eliot now is saying guilty persons should be given a treatment similar to predial larcenists. Their action is boxing food out of taxpayers' mouth. Yeah, Jeffrey Douglas saying it is disgraceful. Marcia Winter, this is indeed sad. We as a nation need to do better than what we're doing. What did the bus do, these culprits? What is wrong with us as a nation? In her mind, it is something that was planned. Okay. Let me see. Janet is saying bad mind, straight bad mind. Yeah. On our X platform, Don O'Meal is saying any perp caught should be, after due process, be made to wash, clean all JUTC buses until the cost of the repair is covered, plus additional. Yeah? Damian Hibbert is saying it's quite frustrating to see the new buses meant to improve public transportation being damaged. While I understand some people may be upset, violence is not the answer and only harms the communities these services aim to help. Sean says it's absolutely ridiculous. Stoning the bus, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah? Incredibly destructive behavior. These senseless attacks undermine efforts to improve public transport for everyone, says McHugh. Your reaction to the stoning of the new JUTC bus? I must say this is not the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth incident. It's indeed sad. Damaging property, state-run property. According to JUTC, recent stonings have been reported in several areas across the corporate area and Harborview, 3 miles. The area in the vicinity there in 3 miles. Seaview Gardens, 6 miles. Washington Boulevard, Hagley Park Road, Christian Gardens and Cumberland. Also in Greater Portmore, Passage Fort, Caymanas and Sir Florizel Glasspool Boulevard. Those areas have been, the JUTC have been getting reports. So your reaction to the stoning of the new JUTC buses, I turn my attention to the YouTube channel. Let me see if I can get in a few of our YouTubers. I'm seeing some unrelated comments here. Politics, saying start girl. Yeah, that's what is being said. Leslie Robinson, big up yourself. I see you. I see your comment. Marcus Graham is saying, Marcus the Best rather, is saying no accountability. Kingsley Graham is saying them for go, bad mind. Marsha is saying that is what happened when you have poor leadership from the opposition. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Netflix reported stronger than expected second quarter results Thursday, with profit jumping 45% year over year as the streaming giant benefited from subscription price increases and a growing advertising business. Revenue climbed 16% to $11.1 billion in the quarter ended June 30, beating analyst estimates and the company's own guidance, while net profit surged to $3.1 billion. Netflix highlighted strong performance from its content offers in the quarter, with major hits including the third season of Squid Game, which drew 122 million views. It has already become the sixth biggest season of any series in the company's history, with just a few weeks of viewing so far. Other standout titles included the third season of Ginny and Georgia, with 53 million views, and Sirens, with 56 million views. There was also the animated film K-pop Demon Hunters, with 80 million views, which became one of the company's biggest animated films ever and generated a soundtrack that topped music charts globally. Jaguar Land Rover is to cut up to 500 management jobs in the UK as the car maker faces pressure on sales and profits from U.S. trade tariffs. Jaguar Land Rover said it would launch a voluntary redundancy scheme and that the cuts were not expected to exceed 1.5% of its British workforce. The firm described the move as normal business practice. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 27 cents to buy $1 US, 216 Jamaican dollars and 2 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars and 21 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Teach your kids smart money habits starting now. Open a student saving account on the spot. Enjoy financial literacy games and get budgeting tips just in time for the new school year. It's all at the Nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair, where families get real value. Saturday, August 9, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. It's the Nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-link?
Oh, Jamaica rise, we're built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores,
we're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky.
JPS, powering what matters.
Still sweating with that old fan? It's time to upgrade!
Meet Glacier, the AC unit that thinks for you. Energy efficient to slash your power bill. Wi-Fi enabled so you can control it from your phone. And self-cleaning because you've got better things to do. Powerful, smart, hassle-free. Call now at 876-923-6521-3. Gaddy's Refrigeration Limited, delivering the perfect cooling solution tailored to your needs.
Start the school year healthy and ready. Bring the kids to the Nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair for vision and dental checks, blood pressure and blood sugar tests, and even immunization support. It's peace of mind for parents and a confident start for students. Join Team Revolution on Saturday, August 9 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Don't miss the Nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It is 6:40 and it is time for the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Well, we're turning to the Jamaica Urban Transit Company today, which is urging members of the public to desist from stoning its buses. The appeal follows an incident on Wednesday night, during which one of the company's new buses was stoned. The vandalized bus was one of 93 added to the JUTC's fleet at the Portmore Bus Depot in Brayton, St. Catherine on Wednesday.
Now, it's reported that at about 7:45 last night, a JUTC bus operating the Washington Boulevard route in St. Andrew was attacked in the vicinity of Drewsland. Stones were thrown at the unit, resulting in significant damage to the front windscreen. Now, thankfully, none of the passengers in the bus were injured.
The JUTC says investigations are currently underway. According to them, recent stonings of its buses have been reported in several areas across the corporate area and Harborview. They include 3 Miles, Seaview Gardens, 6 Miles, Washington Boulevard, Hagley Park Road, Christian Gardens, and Cumberland. They also include Greater Portmore, Passage Fort, Caymanas, and Sir Florizel Glaspole Boulevard, among other areas. Well, to discuss this further, we are joined by Head of Security at the JUTC, former SSP Radcliffe Lewis. Good evening, Sir Radcliffe.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So, just to get into it, this matter of stoning buses, how regular does this happen? Is this a new occurrence, or is this something that's been ongoing for a very long time?
It is something that is ongoing for a very long time, more than 10 years. And in the first time, it usually be 2, 3, and 4. But after a while, it gradually escalates until it reach this proportion now, where we have a lot of the buses being stoned. And as I say, for the first from January up to today's date, it is 41 buses stoned. And last year we had 20 for the whole year. And at this point in time, it is 41, which is more than 100% increase. So that is a problem.
And what have you found is causing this? Is it just a simple public mischief, or is there some kind of other specific insinuation behind it?
Listen me now. Road rage usually be a part of the stone throwing incident, and student having fuss. And for argument's sake, a student fuss with you, Chevron, and you go and sit at the window. What the other student usually do now is to just take up stone or bottles and throw at the window with the intention that the window will smash, and that stone or whatever is thrown hit the student. So we have student, but that is out now, and road rage. But after a while, it reach a different stage where criminal elements get into it and just start stoning our buses to no apparent reasons. And let me tell you something. When the buses are stoned, Chevron,
yes,
these most of the time, they aim for the windshield. and sometimes it misses and break the side glasses. When the side glasses and the windshield are damaged, it affects our operational activities because these buses have to be withdrawn from service for repairs to be effective to the glass. That is the side glass. Where the side glass and the only repair that can be done to the side glass is a replacement for the glass by plyboards. But when the windshield are broken, the windshield cannot be replaced by plyboards. We have to find a foreign exchange, scarce foreign exchange, to import those glass, those windshields. Then we have to pay shipping fees. Then workman cost, which sometimes run us in excess of $1 million. And I don't calculate the bus when the time the bus is taken out of service. That calculation is not in the over $1 million cost. So it is frightening.
Radcliffe Lewis, tell me something. In any of these instances where they stone the windscreen, I imagine the bus would come to a stop. Has there ever been an instance where there was an attempted robbery?
Precisely.
Yes, man. Yes. Let me tell you something. I'm glad you asked that question. You have sometimes one instance they stone the bus and that was an attempted robbery. But after a while, they boarded the bus as passenger and then do the robbery. But what I can say, and that usually happens in the Huntsville area, but two criminals were identified, but those two criminals are no longer with the living. So from that time until now, no more robbery.
So it's just straight stoning for the sake of the stoning?
Yes, just sake stoning. For must be for reasons that is unknown to us. I have some ideas. I said I have some idea.
What are those ideas?
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Because I look at the areas you mentioned: 3 miles, Seaview Gardens; 6 miles, Washington Boulevard, Hagley Park Road, Christian Gardens, Cumberland. What could be the reason? Why these particular routes? What's unique about the buses on these routes?
What happened with those buses on the routes? As I say, I cannot say the reasons, but what I can say.
This is parts of this flying. This is what, Western St. Andrew. Parts of this is in Western St. Andrew. Yes.
Yes. Yes. From as I say, from Spanish Town Road, Riverton City to 6 miles, 3 miles. I spoke about out by Harborview. You have Big Tree in the Portmore area there, where we have it now. We have police there, and it happens every time, exactly 10 p.m. at Big Tree. So we have police there now at 10 o'clock when the last bus passes. After the last bus passes, it is always the last bus that is attacked.
But Sir Radcliffe, that sounds far more than just opportunistic. That sounds like that's taking a level of planning and coordination.
Yes.
Yes,
So why you don't want to tell us, Mr. Lewis, what your theories are?
Yeah, I have. Let me tell you, I'm going to answer your one way. The blind can see.
Well, let me ask you a direct question. Do you think it's politically motivated?
Well, listen me now. Listen me. Again, I am going to answer you the same way. The blind can see.
You told Cliff this morning that some of these areas, there are no CCTV cameras, yeah?
Yes,
Is it probably useful now to partner with the police to get cameras in some of these areas?
Yes, sir. That would be useful. But let me tell you, those areas, those cameras will have to be placed as high as in heaven. Because if you put it on a light post, I can bet you it is going to be damaged.
Yes. Have you talked about two of the suspects who you say are no longer with the living? Any
Yes.
other, any more progress in any other investigation in the stoning incidents?
Yes, yes, you know.
Because I look at the areas where they stone the windscreen, I imagine the bus would come to a stop. Has there ever been an instance where there was an attempted robbery?
Yes. Yeah, well, in recent times now, as I say now, they have adapted a new attitude or a new position here now, where it is done under the cover of darkness. And when they throw the stone, sometimes the driver is unable to say who, if it is a man or a woman, throw the stone. And they disappear in their areas of cover. And nobody, even if anybody sees that sometimes we go into these areas, ask questions, everybody is tightly. And we all understand what has caused the tightly. You know, and if I was living there, probably I would be tightly too. And maybe you too. So that is the position. But as I say, we are now having discussions. Both by Harborview, we are now having discussion with Kingston East Police. In the 3 miles area, we are having discussion with the St. Andrew South Divisional Commander. And over in Portmore, the St. Andrew South Divisional Commander, to see exactly what can be done. We have this evening now, I make sure that I put a patrol on the boulevard from 6 miles to Zedi Garden, and one patrol is in the 3 miles area that goes up to Hagley Park, Halfway Tree, and it also goes from 3 miles to Riverton City, down to 6 miles. While it was down by 6 miles, I just get a call just before you called me a while ago. So one of our bus was attacked at Tinspen.
Just now?
Just now.
But this is crazy.
Just now.
You're saying a bus was attacked before you came on here just now?
Yeah, a matter of fact, if you did call earlier, I could not take the call from you because I was just called by my security officer over in Portmore, Mr. Sims, and told of what just transpired. You understand?
This is madness.
This is beyond brazen, though, Sir Radcliffe.
Make I tell you something. You see the law that governs malicious destruction of property. That is JUTC buses, and for argument's sake, train line and public utilities equipment, and the burning of the roadways. The law is a slap of the wrist and the wrist of those criminals. I want government, no, I am now recommending to government to make the law stiffer by passing laws for any person that damage any government property, no less than 15 years hard labor. That is exactly what I want. In other countries, destruction of government properties is a long sentence. It's almost life imprisonment. But our one out here is a 10-day business. You get 10 days and 5 days. And that is it. I want the law to be more stiffer on those persons who have the intention to continue to damage government properties.
What would you say to the members of the community who you say are tight-lipped when you try to investigate these matters? What would you say to them this evening?
The only thing I can say to them is try and tell those persons, because they know exactly who are doing this. And the bus is for everybody. Tell them to desist from stoning and damaging the JUTC buses. That's all I can say to them.
And Sir Radcliffe, I suppose it's not a situation where you have the benefit of either rerouting or otherwise avoiding those areas because you have to serve the public.
Yeah, no, we can't avoid those here. A lot of persons, and even persons from the same area who are some of them who are unfortunate. They cannot pay taxi fare. They have to rely on the JUTC service, which is just $100 to take them almost anywhere in the corporate area. And outside of the corporate area too, they have to rely on the service. So we cannot reroute the bus. We have to allow them to stay.
And so you would say
to continue on the route.
So you'd say it's in the best interests of those community members that they do report these incidents to the police.
And we have numbers, and they can call 1192 and give 119 the name of the persons who are committing these criminal acts because they know who.
But
know who.
But SSP Lewis, let me go back to Siobhan's
Yes,
question,
sir.
because I'm thinking most Jamaicans who are law-abiding Jamaicans hearing this probably would say you should pull the buses from those routes. Because, because this isn't by chance. People are coordinating and attacking state resources.
All right. Let me tell you something that it is going to be difficult. Persons going from Portmore to downtown, the bus have to pass almost 3 miles. What that piece of just before you go over the bridge, you descend the bridge. Recently, that is the time. 4 a.m. 4 a.m. They stone 3 of our buses. So we cannot avoid that route. It's the only route to downtown Kingston. Because you must go to downtown Kingston. A lot of persons travel. A lot of persons take the buses along different routes and various routes in the Portmore area. So it is a must. So we cannot avoid that route. And so like 21, 22 from Spanish Town, and persons going to work on the wharves, persons on Marcus Garvey going to work on Marcus Garvey Drive. We cannot reroute those routes. We wouldn't have any. We would disenfranchise those persons. And we are here. We are here to serve the public. So it is our duty now to find ways and means to stop those criminals from stoning the buses. That is our duty now.
So you're saying you're getting stonings even at 4 in the morning?
As soon as 4 a.m. or as late as 4 a.m. Whatever is the right.
So people wake up out of them bed. Wake up out of them bed just for stone the bus them.
And go wait on the JUTC bus to stone it.
That's crazy.
Like they send in a message.
That is crazy.
And to the best of your knowledge, it's specifically the JUTC buses that are being targeted.
Right.
There's
not
other
posters,
PPVs.
not taxis, just the JUTC buses.
Just the JUTC bus. Just the JUTC bus. No other buses. No taxis. And when, listen me, the driver saw the 2 men who stoned the buses that 4 a.m. morning. And listen, let me tell you, the driver told me that the 2 men were running faster than Thompson now that we have, and the scene and bolt. And straight, I'm not going to hide anything, and straight into Majestic Gardens. That's where they run. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not here to defend anybody. And I am not here to hide anything. I am a plain talker. Anything I see, I talk. And that is exactly what is happening. And we have to stop it.
Yeah. Former SSP Radcliffe Lewis is the head of security for the JUTC. If you listeners, if you know anybody stoning the buses, report them. This is crazy. Report them. People shouldn't just damage state property with impunity. And remember, most importantly, you and me, SSP Lewis, all our bugs, we pay for the bus them. It's taxpayer money.
You're depriving yourself of a service.
Yes. What kind of madness is that?
Then listen, let me tell you something now, Shevan. Then you think when we buy the foreign exchange, is me and you pay for it. It's taxpayers, including me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Taxpayers. So it costs, even those who stole in the bus, it costs them. But apparently they don't know. You understand? And this whole heap, a hell of a money, we have to find out and fork out to buy glasses. Because we can buy the glass and store them and wait until bus stone and glass box. Nothing go so.
My producer says perhaps they're not paying taxes, right? They don't matter to them.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
SSP Lewis, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, sir, you're welcome. And all the best. Take care.
All right. This is crazy. And Boy, man, sometimes I worry about my people, you know. I worry about my people.
As I said, I've come to not be shocked by these things anymore, because if you would willingly vandalize something as critical to the state's infrastructure as the cablings for JPS and the telecommunications providers, why should I be shocked that there are Jamaicans who would insidiously, and that's the only term I can put towards it, stone the public bus and public transport system for whatever reason they feel that they are encouraged to do that with impunity?
After the break, we'll hear from the new president of the JMEA.
The NHT is lending up to $12 million for homes priced at $14 million or less, making home ownership more accessible for Jamaicans. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 7 o'clock.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Are you ready to pursue undergraduate studies but you are unsure of what to study and where? Choose the internationally accredited University of the Commonwealth Caribbean UCC. We offer on-campus and online undergraduate programs in marketing, business administration, information technology, HR management, finance management, and more. Apply now at ucc.edu.jm or call 906-3000 or visit any of our campuses island-wide. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Back to school doesn't have to break the bank. Swap instead of shop. Join Nationwide 90 FM at our Back to School Fair on Saturday, August 9 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park in the western city of Montego Bay. Bring those books your kids no longer need and swap them for ones they do. Plus, enjoy fun activities, entertainment, and meet your favorite nationwide personalities. It's all happening in St. James on Saturday, August 9 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park. See you there.
It's a minute after 7. We're turning our attention now to the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the JMEA. That's because it has a new president. Catherine Silvera is the first ever female president. She'll serve for the 2025-26 term, and she has outlined a bold mandate to modernize and strengthen Jamaica's manufacturing and export sectors, focusing on industry, data collection, sector linkages, energy policy reform, workforce productivity, and civic pride. We're now being joined by the new president of the JMEA, Catherine Silvera. Good evening, Ms. Silvera.
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners. Thank you for having me on, Ricardo and Siobhan. I'm happy to be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so these sound like big plans you're planning on taking on, focusing on industry data collection, sector linkages, energy policy reform, workforce productivity, and civic pride. Any one of these by themselves could last an entire term. Why such an ambitious agenda?
Well, it is also driven by the board at the JME and the Secretariat. I think that they're all important, as you've said. Key at that is data. From years gone by, presidents have been advocating for data, and I'm choosing to put that at the top of my priority list because we continue to be at a disadvantage to be able to advocate fully for our sector without the data from our members.
Mm. And when you say data, what are you looking at?
So I'm looking at things like capacity. For each member, what is the capacity like? What are our quality and our standards like? What is our employment? What do we contribute to GDP? how we can utilize this data to help to drive policy, trade agreements, and incentives. Because I think that is, we see it happening in other sectors. We see it in the tourism sector. We see it used to see it in the BPO sector. And it is, I think, reasons why these sectors have seen such growth. I mean, tourism is the fastest growing sector this year.
And do you believe that gap in terms of data collection and just the intelligence-driven nature of that initiative is what will make the difference in terms of bringing manufacturing forward?
I think that it is the start. We have been lacking in it. I think it's going to take time. But once you have the information, once you have this data available, you can then help to drive policy creation at government. I mean, we have numerous free trade agreements in play, and some of them are disadvantaged to manufacturers in Jamaica. That's not going to be able to change overnight, but the steps that we have to take to try and change that is going to be driven by information that we get with our members that we can consolidate and put pen to paper to put positions out there to drive those policies and changes.
Mm-hmm. And energy is obviously a huge issue for your membership. You want to see policy reform. We've had an announcement from the minister recently that, certainly when the JPS license come to an end, it's not going to be renewed, certainly not this current license. What do you want to see in terms of reform in energy?
Well, firstly, before reform, we obviously want to see a lower rate per kilowatt hour. We want it to see how low we can get. We're aiming, or we hope that the aim is to get to at least 12 cents per kilowatt hour so that we can be competitive with some of our fellow members in CARICOM. But in terms of true energy policy reform, we are advocating strongly for fuel mix diversification, greater integration of renewables, a more modern grid access that would include wheeling arrangements, updated time of use tariffs that reflect our operating realities. This has to go hand in hand with aggressive steps to combat electricity theft, because that is something that we are all paying for, and greater transparency and data sharing from regulators like the OUR. So those are our top priorities while these contract negotiations are going on that we would like to be pushing for.
And from where you sit, do you welcome the government's move in terms of how it's proceeding with the license?
Yeah, well, I support it in the fact that it could not continue the way that it was. And so, JPS is one of our members, and they are a big contributor to our expo, for example. They power our Expo Jamaica. They have for the past, I don't know how many years. And so we will advocate for them as well, but we have to support the government, I think, because their changes do need to be made. Things that I have mentioned before in terms of wheeling arrangements, combating electricity theft, fuel mix diversification, these are all things that need to change. And so we hope, that JPS will be able to come better to the table with the government. But we do realize that things have to change, and so we welcome and support.
And workforce productivity, obviously that is quite sensible, but civic pride, where does that fall into the equation? And is this in some way entwined with that need for greater workforce productivity?
Well, civic pride is kind of my mandate. For many years, I've always said that, we live by different sets of rules in Jamaica. Any one of us go to foreign and we abide and we are disciplined.
True.
But in Jamaica,
we want to challenge every rule.
We want to challenge every rule, and I think that it has been many decades of lack of enforcement. We see that, that is improving. We see that major crimes and major murders are down, and we have to congratulate the effort that it's not an overnight effort. It's been years in the making. But we still have steps to take to really show that enforcement is there and the law is there, and that we need to have discipline and we need to have regard for our rules and how we treat each other. I think that's how it lays down at the end of the day, because every single day you and I, we go on the road, we drive, or we're a pedestrian, or we're taking the bus, and we see the lawlessness and disrespect that people have for others. It's like their time is more urgent than somebody else's. And I think that's important that as manufacturers, we continue to strive and show to our employees, to our members, to the greater community that we need to have pride in ourselves and respect for others. And we transfer this over into our quality of what we are producing, and that we stand also by the message, by Jamaican, build Jamaica. So I think it all ties in. You know, you brought up about productivity and work ethic. I think that also ties into it as well, because sometimes I believe that that you're not as productive because maybe you can get away with it. It's still an enforcement, and it's holding persons accountable. I think that is also somewhat a bit lacking sometimes. Is it takes time and effort to hold persons accountable, but it's for the best for them at the end of the day.
And we speak a lot about sector linkages across Jamaica. We talk about tourism being linked with agriculture, etc. But what are the areas, do you believe, from the aspect of manufacturing and exportation, where that linkages is missing?
I would say that, great strides have been made in linking tourism and agriculture and manufacturing. I mean, the Tourism Linkages Network with the Tourism Enhancement Fund, I believe, has celebrated 10 years in linkages with partners such as us, the JMEA, and but still more can be done. I think the government has recognized that we have the leverage now for tourism, and gone are the days where we had to give away a lot to get investment to come in. We have limited land resources now, limited beach space. We have maybe 20,000 new hotel rooms coming over the next 10 years. I see that we can take advantage, and I welcome Minister Bartlett's announcement a few weeks ago that he plans to try and advocate or put in incentive programs for new builds to put more spend on buying locally, especially for the pre-build. I mean, we have cement that is made here. We have PVC pipes. We have doors. We have tiles. We have cabinets. We have paints. Why should we be importing paints for hotels? We have furniture. We have decor. We have mattresses. These are all things that you need as a hotel before you even open your doors to visitors. And so it has come a far way, but it can still do better.
Yeah. All right. Catherine Silvera, she's the new president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, and I'm sure we're going to have many, many more conversations over the coming year. Congratulations again, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I look forward to more conversations. Have a good evening.
You too. All right. It's 12 minutes after 7. Time for you to have your calls. Come and have a chat. But of course, behave on yourself. Come and know so now come ready. 630-937-124, 618-8255.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
We're taking your calls now, Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And Richie is first. Good evening, Richie.
Good evening, Master Ricardo. I'm Siobhan.
Good evening, sir.
Listen about this bus attack stoning.
Mm-hmm.
This is terrorism at the highest level. And I believe Mr. Golden and Mr. Bunting must be sorry against know that they play this politics. I'm not saying that they are the one, I mean, it's because of it, you know. But they come on a real fire because of it. And when these things happen, you know, whether the PMP supporters in the street are the ones doing it, that's how people are going to look at it, you know. And I believe they would pay a big price at the poll. You see the coast of the year they talk about, they want to buy brethren. I drive coaster for years between Kingston and Manivelle. And I go and tell you about it. You see the last year's coaster they have, if you lean on them suddenly, they sink. They dent. Because the bodies are very, very fair. We know about coastal. Just about the body know about them. You see, when you sit in the front of them, your knees almost touch on the dashboard. And if, should in case of a minor accident, children in that front, in those fronts, it's easy for them to be fatal. It don't mean a big accident, you know, minor. The buses that they're talking about is 16 years old. Those buses are good buses, you know, they are tough. Children not sitting near to them, to the front of them. It has to take major accident for those children to be fatal. Mr. Gordon, all them know those things, but they just play politics. And they come on a real fire for it. So I know they're hearing all these things now. I know they're sorry more than one time again. That's my opinion on it.
All right, Richie. Thanks for the call. Lloyd, good evening.
Good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Lloyd. Long time to hear from you. All right?
Yeah, man.
Good.
My view is that Mr. Golden and his crew is trying to deceive the people that are not emancipated from mental slavery. And I say that because I hear Mr. Golden talking about since the JLP government came into power, and they are talking about the advancement of the people, and he don't see that advancement coming. Now, I want to tell Mr. Golden that the reason why the advancement cannot come overnight is because the taxpayers of Jamaica had to pay the people who invested in treasury bills. Treasury bills did not accommodate production. Treasury bill is like giving a second time to people who they didn't produce anything, but they were able to get money because they had money to invest. It wasn't invested in productivity. And the Jamaican taxpayer, even the anti-art man, had to pay taxes in order for those people to accumulate a vast amount of wealth. Now, I heard even people who said that they came out of their businesses because the amount of profit that they were making, it was not sufficient like investing in treasury bills. They locked down their businesses, put money on treasury bills, and went to the beach. One of those persons said he couldn't go into the airport or the wharf to clear goods. And he had to come back and check about payroll and those things. He couldn't take that. He prefer close down and invest in treasury bills. Now, Mr. Gordon, why are you continually trying to fool the Jamaican people? You're a beneficiary. So if we had to pay over 100 billion, how prosperity will come for the little small man overnight? Mr. Golden, listen, man, you don't have an interest in the small people because guess what? You said it out of your own mouth. At top and wrist, you are defending. Okay? So,
did he say that, Lloyd, or did he say him and him Tapanaris friend them around the country? I don't think he said him only defending Tapanaris.
Then, listen.
No, I just want you to quote him at what he said. And I'm not contesting it. I'm just saying, quote him accurately.
But, Ricardo, my quoting him.
No, I understand the interpretation you've taken from the quote, but I'm saying if you're quote him accurately.
Okay. Well, listen. One thing I want to tell Jamaican people say that the PNP is a pro-colonialist party from its inception. And I will explain. The PNP was founded mainly by people who came back from England after the Second World War.
The educated middle class.
Yeah, and yes. If you notice, they speak about Fabian socialism. Okay?
Yes.
Now, I don't hear analysts.
In fact, if I recall correctly, a member of the Labour Party spoke at the launch of the People's National Party at the Ward Theatre. I recall reading that. A prominent member of the Labour Party at the time, the UK Labour Party.
All right.
Which would have embraced Fabian socialism at the time. Yes. And perhaps still does.
But what a lot of analysts run away from talking. The party was made up of moderate socialists and communists. People don't talk about that. People don't talk about that. And you see, after the formation of the PNP and then the JLP came into being, the communist wing, headed by the 4-H.
Those were the Hill brothers?
Eh?
Those were the Hill brothers?
Yes, and Richard Hart and Arthur Henry.
Yes.
And Bustamante had to run from his West Kingston constituency because of violence. People don't talk about that. And you see, when they challenged Wilson Isaacs about it, he said, oh, it takes a few broken skulls to build a nation.
You know, it's interesting that you're bringing this up, Lloyd. I read an article just probably a week ago, and the article was making a case that it was defending Edward Seaga as not being the originator of political violence in Jamaica. And that name that you just mentioned, was it Isaacs? Is the name you...
Wilson Isaacs.
Right. I came across him in my readings. It's so interesting that you're bringing this up this evening. I recently became educated about those matters.
Because that is, you see, when they paint Seaga, it's a strategy of the PNP from they became a party. And the JLP was formed. Did you know that one of the reasons why Bustamante didn't go forward with the PNP, Norman Manley did not allow him to speak at the inception because guess what? He knows that the crowd would not give Bustamante more cheers than him. I want to get some more people. And the conspiracy.
Yeah, actually, no, but Lloyd, you and I probably need to have some conversations because a lot of what you're sharing is information I recently came into. For example, I gather, and obviously I can only rely on what my elders tell me and what I can find in the literature, that yes, that was a real fear. That Bustamante he had a charisma that attracted the common man in a way that the very scholarly and erudite Norman Manley did not. And there are people, and there's literature that says that may have been the source of some resentment. I don't know how widespread it was or how significant it was, but that Manley did always envy that I suppose you'd call it the common touch that Bustamante had.
Ricardo, quickly, because I want to get some more people space. I don't want this space. Go and read John Blair.
John Blair?
Yes, and you will see in there that before Bustamante even came into politics,
yes,
he had the common touch for the poor of this country. All right, sir.
All right, my brother. Thank you so much.
And take care.
And, the YouTubers are saying that we probably should have an interview with Lloyd alone because he's a walking encyclopedia and history lesson. No, it is true, Siobhan. I did come across that in my reading. In fact, there was an argument that was why, for example, the referendum on the Federation, the Labour Party was able to prevail because while Manley may have had good intentions and, noble intentions, he was not able to communicate it in a way that the masses of the Jamaican people...
That's probably why the People's National Party is so terrified of referendums to this day.
It could be. It could be. In fact, I remember I was watching another documentary. I think her name escapes me now, But Manley, one of the Manley grandchildren, she said that when the referendum failed, she remembered her grandfather sitting at a table, a desk, and she could see that he was so broken, so hurt, because the majority of the people had rejected him and his ideal of where the country should go. But Lloyd, yeah man, we should talk some more. Because I want the elders to tell me the stories now, because I worry that the history is disappearing and there are not a lot of people who are telling the stories.
Is it disappearing or there's just no interest in hearing it?
No, I think, let me use me as an example, and I might be the minority. But I think there is an interest. I think there is an interest in hearing, but there are not a lot of sources that are willing to talk. It's why, for example, I have appreciated people like Beverly Manley, the Manley Memoirs, the docu-series that she did. I think I heard, for example, 2 interviews between Cliff and Pernell Charles Sr. I appreciated that. I want the elders to tell the stories. Because the stories are vanishing, and I think in some ways the history is also being whitewashed.
I understand that, because there's this unwillingness to tarnish the reputations of those bygone.
But I don't think we should be
But I think it does do a disservice.
It does, because if we don't know where we have come from as a people, not just politically but socially, then I don't know if we can ever have a real hope of going somewhere in a guided way. You understand? I think we'll repeat mistakes that we've already made if we don't tell those stories and learn from them.
Because Cliff has a copy of the biography done on Michael Manley, and reading that was quite eye-opening. Some of the things that was discussed in that book, some of the things that you learned that they're not going to teach you in a political relations class, and you're not going to hear uttered in any way on a radio station in any capacity. But it gives you an eye-opening understanding of where the Jamaican politics is coming from.
Yeah. So youngsters like myself and Siobhan, we appreciate when the elders talk to us about these things. We enjoy it. Carl.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Shava.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Light. Long time I hear your voice. Why you come with the doctrine this evening. Thank you very much. Something that you said I never really know about it. I have to look it up over the weekend here.
What's that?
To really understand it. Anyhow, I heard Dayton Campbell crying from 12 o'clock news today like some big yard demeanor.
What was that about? Let me look.
I want Andrew to and the Jamaica Labour Party to give him 3 more of those big meat like we keep in St. Catherine Sunday night.
PNP General Secretary has hit back at the Prime Minister for his drunken power remark.
Well, hold on. Well, I'm coming there. If Dayton Campbell did just listen and Colin did just take a listening ears, Light B. Smith used a reference. I think it was Tuesday evening when him and Bert Samuels and the farmer, that lady named
Donna Parchment Brown,
former
Parchment political ombudsman. Yes.
And Light B. Smith used a word, and that was what it referred to. Dayton Campbell and Bolin. That Bolin was a drunken man on a platform.
No, he never said that.
Dayton Campbell.
Lloyd B. Smith never said that.
He never said that, but that's what the word mean. That like
no. He questioned whether that was the case. He didn't say Mr. Golding is a drunken man.
Anyhow.
And just to be clear, we have no evidence that Mr. Golding is a drunken man.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I'm just making it clear that he never directly said that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And crying like that, Dayton Campbell, why you be coming annoying to people? Some people say.
Well, let me hear what he said. I didn't hear it. Bugs in 12 o'clock. I didn't hear it. Let me play it right now. The first clip. Dr. Campbell. It's Dayton on PM. Dr. Campbell says it's the Holiness administration that's drunk on power. That's leading to the clip. The first clip, yes.
I heard him recently, and the Prime Minister says that some people are drunk on power. I want to know who is drunk on power, because there is a Prime Minister that has said to this country he does not need any opposition. That sounds to me like somebody who is drunk on power. There is a prime minister who in 2020, in the middle of COVID, called an election 6 months early because he had an advantage. Now we are down to the wire, and he has his Minister of Constitution and Legal Affairs talking about December. Call the election now if you are not drunk on power.
Okay. Well, I mean, two responses to that. One, COVID was very different, and history has proven that the decision to call that election early was the correct one. Because if I recall correctly, at around the time when the election would have been due, there was a serious spike in cases.
Thank you very much, Ricardo.
And that would have meant the country would have veered very close, I think, to a crisis. So that was one. No, the second response is I don't know if saying what the law plainly says, which is what the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs did, and in fact she did the country a national service, because I think a lot of people did not know that the elections were actually constitutionally due in December. So I'm not sure, Dr. Campbell, I agree that makes one drunk on power. And just to be clear, the Prime Minister said on the fumes of power. But I hear Dr. Campbell.
Anyhow, the rest of the people I'm listening. Well, I heard Golden also since evening upon my television. Mm-hmm. And you can hardly pick out anything out of what Golden said nowadays to believe it. That's him. I'm going to use the word misleading. I'm going to be very careful and use the word misleading. Him say the economy of Jamaica, them left it in a very good shape. And when the government went and them they take it from the JLP, they are the precipice that is misleading Golden. You are misleading the country, Golden. The first thing, Golden, it is when the man who gives you the seat, Omar Davis, carried Jamaica economy to the precipice. Go and check that for yourself, Golden. When that foolish thing that thing said at Meadowbrook School that Sunday evening, and then tell we say, you have to correct that a former member of the PMP said it was the most massive resources from the poor to the rich since your country, Golden, abolished slavery from Jamaica. You must learn to speak the truth when you're speaking to the people. Speak the truth. And enough time we come with this argument, I heard enough of talking about Peter Phillips help draw policy to get us out of problem with the country. No, Peter Phillips was a part of that meltdown.
Carl, we've had this discussion. That does not change the fact that he did as finance minister. It don't change the fact. You're not going to take away nothing from your argument if you just accept that basic fact.
No, I cannot accept it.
Why? It's true.
And Ricardo, I trying to explain.
No, I'm not saying. No, hold on. No, I'm not saying to you that he was not a part of the government that presided over the chaos. I am not contesting that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that as finance minister between 2012 and 2016, he did serious work to reform the system.
Ricardo, I'm going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
In April gone, my vehicle was due to insure. And if I did not insure my vehicle back and making a
yes, Carl, accident, that may well be so. If he never do it, we'll probably go off. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it happened.
Ricardo, if him was a part of this disaster, Ricardo, I don't care what you do, no, Ricardo. You was a part of the destruction, Ricardo. Can't take that away from me.
So why can't you accept the fact that your own prime minister has accepted?
I have accepted your starting premise, and I don't contest your starting premise. But it don't change the fact that as finance minister, he not gonna take away nothing from your argument if you accept that. The former finance minister has accepted it. The current finance minister has accepted it. The prime minister has accepted it. Why you can't accept it?
Well, my leader can accept it.
But you not accept it.
Mr. Clark and Mrs. Williams, but I cannot accept it.
I see.
Because you know what, Ricardo? You know young. you know, never know the disaster.
No, I guarantee you I knew what was happening in the 1990s.
We're not that
We're not that young.
Carl.
I know what was happening in the 1990s, and I'm saying to you, Carl, it don't change the basic fact.
Ricardo, when a person can get up and do policy of what Omar Davis and you sit down and knock a bench.
Nobody no argue with you about that. Nobody now argue with you about that. Nobody. He was a part of the cabinet. It is a fact. And as the principle of collective responsibility, yes, he remained silent and he was a part of that cabinet. No question about it. But does that change the fact that between 2012 and 2016, he ran his leg to correct those grave errors? Does that change that fact? No. Thank you for the call, Carl. 630-937-124-618-8255. Papa Nana.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. I listened to the argument. Let me ask you one question first.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell me the reason why Michael Phillips did not attend the handing over of the bus here and Mr. Jackson?
No idea.
You don't have no idea?
Mm-mm.
And don't you think, if you're saying something at your home with your young children and things, they always grow up to live by what you do many of the time?
Yes, that's the principle. Children live what they learn, yes?
Yes. And that's why I told you people on this radio times and often that if you notice, the PMP is very smart, you know, they target it because, take for instance, if you want to catch a lot of janga, I don't know if you would know what I call so. You wouldn't set a fish pot in a swimming pool.
Because the janga them in a swimming pool, yeah?
No, you would set it with a river where you know a lot of them is.
Yes.
You know, that's why you see them try to keep targeting the unfortunate, the people them who maybe can't read and write. It's what they talk about the bus, why people start to attack the bus. I am telling you that is that happen. Is what they said why illiterate people, they don't must tell them to do it. But it's what they talk about it, why people start to attack the bus. I was waiting long and I want to give somebody else a chance if there is another chance. But what I'm asking you, could you tell me what is going to happen to Jamaica if mongoose have secret for dog? What would happen to fowl?
What?
No.
Hold on. If mongoose, wait. If mongoose have secret for dog, what happen to fowl?
Yes.
Hear mama nana boy, yes. Wait, hold on. Me don't know. But alright, hold on, let me reason that one that true. So let me see if I get that again. So if the mongoose have a secret for the dog, what happened to the fowl? Can the mongoose eat the fowl? So if the me I try get it, mama nana. Me I try get it. So if the mongoose have a secret for the dog,
yes,
and the the fowl I get where? The fowl I get where?
The mongoose, the dog can't trouble the mongoose because the mongoose have secret with the dog.
Oh, so that means that the fowl will get nyam. Because the dog now run the mongoose and the fowl. See that? All right.
I leave you now to think about what I say.
I see. One papa nana, one mama nana. Yes.
People, and that is the reason why they try to ghettoize most of Jamaica, that they can use the unfortunate to do their dirty work.
I see. All right, papa
and that
nana.
is what I'm telling you, so you take care of yourself. I leave you to think about it.
All right.
Mongoose
can't have secret for dog. Come on, got him to the phone. All right.
Good, sir.
Hey, old people, bright, you know. Can't chew in the books. Can dog they run on the mongoose. Say they have a secret. They not run now. Can you free the mongoose? They mongoose and near fall. That makes sense, man. That makes quite sense. 630-937-124-618-8255. Anthony.
Ricardo, Chevron, how are you guys doing?
Doing all right. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am doing good, thanks. Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say to Mr. Lewis that cameras are available that can be placed in those areas that they're having those problems. And those cameras can be there and not so easily detectable. Let me say that.
Okay.
All right. So I work on a university campus, right? And they are, I know of at least 200 cameras on the campus that unless one of the persons install them, you will not know that those cameras are there. So cameras are available that can be placed in those areas. It's just that it might be a little expensive, and I don't know whether government or private sector would want to invest in them and stuff. Because this foolishness needs to stop. We can't invest in spending tax money to buy vehicles, and people just think that they can come and stone them like that and stuff.
Well said.
That's all I have.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Agreed. 630-9371-24618-8255. We're taking your calls on Nationwide at 5. I'm just still on that. Yeah.
A good bit of Jamaican wisdom.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. Cleveland.
Yes, Mr. Ricardo and Savan. How do you do?
Doing all right, my friend. How are you?
I'm giving thanks. You know, it not surprised me here in the news today that people start stoning the bus.
Me disappointed. Me very disappointed.
Because of how the leaders, them talking about the bus. I know it would happen. These people take a thing from their leaders. Right? And that's why leaders have to be careful, especially here in Jamaica. What you say out there. Right? And if you notice, anywhere they throw stone on the bus, you know, those areas are strong PNP areas. Yeah, and it always happens at Jewsland. If you look back over your news over the years and you're just getting stone, short in Jewsland tonight. You see? And that's why leaders have to be very careful of the things they say and how they say it. Because I think like the bus system, especially for the kids, is very important. Very important. So it no matter which government in, and as long as they bring in some buses for the children to travel in, we must all support it.
Yeah.
The children are suffering to go to school and get home from school with these taxi people. You hear what the DPP tell you this evening?
Yes.
That's happening to the young children then.
Yes.
You see? And sometimes, boy, I tell you, I cry for them when I see them pack them up in the car, then sit down by each other in the mine shop. You know, and now we're getting to get rid of those type of ways to get the children to school, and become more comfort, and so on. And then start to stone on the bus. You see? Because them think a GLP bus. You see? And those are the type of people who are around support these people because they want to win government and then shut anything. And you have only for people out there who buy into what they're saying, you know. We know, man, we can't continue that way. Can't continue. We must support the bus system and see that they don't mash up the bus then. And the bus people, they must try and put things around those areas that they can find them and deal with them hard. All right. That's all I have to say.
All right, Cleveland. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo.
Good
Sanjay.
evening. It's Siobhan with me this evening.
Siobhan, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, man, you know, just a little bit of inquiry, though. I was like the second, well, after your first caller, I got to quickly on line number 3. And me hear about 4 more callers coming in before me. So me check say, them are coming in order as how them come, you know. I beg you, just you're my favorite station and I listen to you, but you know, you want to everybody have them points, but make we take them as them come and we can work out. I have 2 points to make though that I will ask you to allow me to make.
My producer has come into the studio to show me her list. To prove that she didn't side. She didn't put you aside. Yes.
I'm not going to take the time now.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Time.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
One, just for clarity here, and I'm not defending, but I'm going to tell you something from where I'm coming from.
Yes.
I can speak certain things. They have been stoning buses from long time. But it is a disgrace that a brand new, at least one of the brand new buses is stoned. And, this don't look good. This don't look good. This don't look good. And when certain utterances are made, that's why people kind of join up things and say, this is why it happened. It could very well be not so.
Yes.
And that's why they said don't threaten anybody. Because once you threaten a man, another man will have a beef with a man quietly. Him do something now and make you get the blame. You understand? You understand what I do?
Yes, no, yeah, man, I get you.
Right. So, threat. You go out the road and threaten a man, and next man, they don't want to lick down that the man a long time. Them go and look for the last man where threaten him. Let us give for the school buses now, because this was not one of the school buses. For the school buses, I call on the people to allow the buses to go out there and see how they operate. And then you can come with your criticism and say, well, I did make certain pronouncement. But we can't from day one. The day not come yet. September morning not come yet. And we start kill the bus already. You understand?
So give them a chance.
Give them a chance and let us see how they will operate. What? I have a car right now, 22-year-old, and me have a younger vehicle. But the 22-year-old is so good. From a 03 Camry, good, like gold. 200 or more than the clock. You understand? And it is working well. I remember when Mr. Pickersgill was Minister of Transport, he bought one of those articulated buses, 2 pieces at the time. And Mr. Wilmot Perkins, a man who I listen to just like Cliff Hughes. Wilmot Perkins called him one day, and Wilmot said to him, Minister, and Mr. Perkins said to him, call me what you used to call me, man. Call me Wrong Jungle. And he laughed. And he said, that bus is going to make it around Golden Dragon Corner, because that bus was running from Halfway Tree to Papine and back. He said, that bus going to make it around Golden Dragon Corner? You think it can? You're going to manage it? You know what Bobby Pickersgill did?
Right.
He went and buy next one with 3 pieces this time, longer. And it worked. It worked. Never. So we can't decry the buses at this time.
Yes.
Yeah, give them a chance to work. My next point is, I am noticing every perspective or what they want to be, if they are going to be candidates for the PNP. Every one of them have a different plan. One have 72 votes to give away in a Fiend constituency of South Trelawney. And if him get in a parliament, one next one round, they saw him and Fiend one plan. It don't seem like these people sit like when I was at our association, and I would sit with my team and we plan and said, we are going to have conference around this team, and we have to sit and we have to give our speech before the small executive and said, this is how my speech is. So if you go up there and say something out of touch, you will have to account for it, because we had to vet the speech together before everybody talk. And I notice everybody on that stage is taking up a cup all the while, and they are drinking from some white cup, some all of that. And that is why the vodka and the something, they are lick the head, because everybody come with a hype. I remember as well that when I was where I was, those graffiti around West Kingston, around Spanish Town, we would paint them out as police officers because they send a certain message, and we said no. So the commissioner then at the time said, paint out those murals, and we get them painted out. And we are now seeing, even when I was in Kingston the other day, when I drive down to Waterloo, and I saw some nice painting, and I have to take a picture of them. They signal a different tone as to what the community must be. I see people with shirt now, blood and fire. What is it telling us? That is blood and fire election we're going to have? Please. And some of these people were a part of who used to clean up the system. Let them stop doing this. Let the kind of rhetoric change. Speak and speak together. We want the MP from the era where they must stone the bus out, what they say, where that bus was stored yesterday?
It would be a Western St. Andrew.
Western St. Andrew. Mr. Hilton must come out or do we if a feed part or if it reach out to Miss Denise Daly out Central Village and denounce the kind of behavior. Don't try win on those things because if you ever get a chance to win, you're going to want bus coming in your area. If you ever get a chance, that I don't believe that they are going to get. But if they ever get a chance, what they want to do? Go and make the bus them look like foul could put up plastic around them. You know, Mr. Radcliffe Lewis sent for me, make me go help you. You understand? Because we have to get to the root of this. And I ask the JUTC probably put up a good reward. And when you catch somebody, the law must be so strict that is not no fine. It must be confinement and make an example of any person they catch that stones a bus. Because if I'm on a bus and they stone it, and me get licked, somebody go and get a big lawsuit. And I don't know what next. You understand? It can't be like that, man. We can't be so uncivil. And the people them who drink in the vodka and talk, tell the people them say, no, we're not into that.
All right, my brother, I hear you.
Yes.
Fergie?
Yes, Shaban and Ricardo.
Good evening, Fergie. How are you doing?
Yes, man. This is Fergie from G Spring. I hear them have another Fergie. But I kind of retire from the politics, and I attempted to talk about the party, but after election, I talk about the politics. One thing I need to mention, I'm a survivor of FinSAC, right? Went through the whole thing. And I was very impressed with the speech that the Prime Minister gave to those youngsters, young entrepreneurs, right? And I was very impressed with it, very encouraging. And, I really respected him for things he brought and, enlightened them with a lot of some of the short history of what really took place, the reality of what took place in the meltdown, right? But only one thing that I am very disappointed about, that having explained the whole thing, he never addressed what he's going to do for the victims or the survivors who were treated like lepers after the whole thing, and people suffered who died, whatever, who committed suicide. Well, I never thought of no suicide. I just struggled through it, the embarrassment, and for 30 years, to go through the struggle. But I'm also saying it was good that he brought it up and explained the whole thing to the youngsters. Only one thing I'd like them to do, though, right, is to make sure that something like this couldn't take place again. And by doing that, what they should do is have a law that inflation, in other words, anybody borrow a loan, any of these youngsters borrow a loan at, say, 25% or whatever, right? Any bank that decides to increase it, it must be based on the inflation of the day, and not just from 25% to 119%. That should never be allowed, and that is what killed the whole thing, right? So they need to look into that.
I don't know if there's a need for legislation to that degree, because as it stands now, the kind of interest rate incentivization that happened during the FinTech era could not potentially happen in Jamaica today, because remember, we practice a mandated 4 to 6% inflation rate, and the banks would be crazy to try and not at least keep their interest rates somewhere within that margin.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They should put anybody borrowing a loan. It should be in one of the understanding or one of the laws that govern that you cannot increase your interest rate above the rate of inflation of the day. In other words, there must be a guideline. Because you can't say it can't again.
I just think today modern market forces keeps that in such a way that you wouldn't need to set a guideline. It would disincentivize the banks to a degree if they attempted to do that.
It's just that it is very scary for people to remember that and not have.
As I said, as the Prime Minister said, the scars from that era run deep, and I know a lot of businessmen and entrepreneurs. Just the very mention of that makes them twitch.
Yeah, man. I mean, I went through it for 30 years, nightmares, So I just saying for the country, I'm a patriotic Jamaican, and I would hate to see that people have the authority to change the interest rate from that significant difference, Anyway, as you say, it's more difficult for it to happen nowadays. But even he was very sympathetic to the victims,
Yeah, hear you, my
friend. But they need to do something about the, some little incentives for the survivors. They don't want money, but something,
All right, my brother, we're out of time.
All right, you take
appreciate
care.
the call. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks to our producer, Sonia Stewart, the man behind the controls, Andrew Glenn Anderson. He goes by the name Bogues. Our colleagues in the newsroom, the very best in the business, led by our editor, Cara Powell. To all our sponsors, contributors, and you, our valued listeners, especially our YouTubers, thank you all for keeping us company. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Wishing you good evening.
Looking for great food, good vibes, and family-friendly fun?